Alright, welcome guys. Today we're going to be doing our kind of review slash pre-build look at Tamiya's new old US Armored Personnel Carrier M3A2 Halftrack. So when I say new old, what I mean is this kit is originally from 1975. And this was actually one of the first kits that when I got into modeling as an adult that I wanted to build. The problem was, you know, this was years ago and the only kits available were on eBay and they were like $150 or something. A ridiculous amount of money, especially for a 70s kit. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I actually sometimes prefer Tamiya 70s kits. They seem to just be like quintessential and perfect, which this kit looks, but that's a lot of money. It's something like $22 on their website. So in terms of models, it's very, very cheap, very affordable, we'll say. It's still 22 bucks, and you know, you end up getting other stuff to go with it and paints and whatnot. It's not ever cheap, and no hobby is cheap, especially not when you become addicted to this one. But very excited because Tamiya re-released this. I think it was this spring or this summer. And they re-released, it was the Sherman Jumbo 75, which you may have seen on, I think I put like a short with it, that I did with some snow on it and everything, and kind of the whitewash. And they also released this, which is like the troop carrier variant of their Halftrack, of the US Halftrack. And then they did a mortar carrier, which in the back has like a little mortar team, and obviously it's cleared out and there's a mortar back there. And then they also did the anti-aircraft version. And, you know, that's, again, it's cleared out in the back and it's got like a quad cannon. So very, very cool. I have heard that there are some errors and inaccuracies with this kit. This is not a rivet counting channel. I heard someone call somebody else a rivet counter online, and I laughed pretty good. So we're going to steal that term and use that. I'm not a rivet counter. I don't care because this looks awesome, and I've wanted to build this for a really long time. It does come with 8 figures, which when you look at the figures in it, and then, you know, the bags and the tarps and the boxes and the jerry cans and spare rifles and everything, this is what I consider both a diorama piece and a, you know, perfect for the shelf kit. And what I mean by that is, I think one figure goes outside the vehicle, but, you know, 7 or 8 of them can be in the vehicle. Which means if you don't have space, which I don't have a lot, it's okay to put it on a shelf. You don't need a diorama for all the stuff that comes in this kit to make the vehicle look better, right? And look more alive and to scale. If you want to do a diorama, this and the other variants come with everything you would need. Slap some grass and some stones and a tree and everything like that. Maybe a little farmhouse, and it would look awesome, right? So very, very cool about that. Now, we'll go ahead and right before we open it up, we'll take a look at this value gear. I already opened it, so a little bit difficult to display that, but take a look at the value gear that I'm going to be using. It's technically not an out-of-the-box build, although you certainly could do an out-of-the-box build. So, Dragon also makes some very, very similar, I think it's literally the M3A2. If it's not, it's something very, very similar. So if you're a rivet counter, Dragon's probably more your style. I don't know how old that kit is. I actually don't know anything about it. But for us, Value Gear makes 2 different sets. They make 4 for Dragon and 2 for Tamiya. Now these are, as you can see, they're bent to like go around fenders, right? They're designed for this kit. You could certainly get other Value Gear or just any other kind of aftermarket accessories, right? We got like ammo cans, backpacks, tarps. There's a little cardboard box. I love their cardboard box, and just all sorts of stuff. And it's pretty cheap. I want to say I bought it when I bought this kit a little while ago. Something like $8 to $12, something in there. And the detail is really, really good. There will be flash on it. You can see pretty big piece of flash. But nothing too crazy, and honestly, a lot of it you can kind of take apart just like this and clean up with your hand. You will, I think, want to wash your hands. I don't know why, but it says to. After you handle this stuff, you will want to wash it with like a degreasing soap. before you paint it, and you will want to apply it with like a super glue or cyan acrylate, whatever some scientists can comment and tell me the proper pronunciation. I am not a scientist, but that is what we're going to be using for the tarps and the gear. So let's go ahead and we'll open this up. Oop, and everything will fall out. So first off, painting and decal application. There is one set of decals, one marking option I should say, that you can do for this kit. There are some, you can cut these little, we'll call them box carriers off the back if you want, in the ladder and things like that, if you want it to be a different variant. We're just going to do this as, you know, it is intended, so nothing too crazy there. And then we get our Japanese set of instructions and decals, and then we also get our kind of info pamphlet and instructions. Now, on this very quickly, this is really, really awesome. Generally, we get like 2 to 3 paragraphs of information from Tamiya kits, and I don't know if this was the original info packet that came with it. If it did, awesome. If not, we have it now, so who cares? But it not only goes into the history of the vehicle itself, it starts with the use of half tracks from the German and the Allied side. Obviously, it goes through a bunch of different variants to the M2, and then finally finishes with them being phased out in the Korean War. So, a lot of good info there. I love to learn about what I'm building, when I'm building it. It's kind of part of the entire process, in my mind at least. And we get a lot of really cool, I would love to see this one. We get a lot of cool variants in there. It's the same half track, it's just got the cover. And I think the cover would look awesome. And then this Citroën, or Citroën, however you pronounce it, in this half track truck, I think would be just absolutely awesome. I kind of love quirky vehicles, and I love half tracks. Half tracks give us the ability to display an interior in ways that a tank does not. You know, tank hatches they're small, there's not a lot of light in there. We do a lot of work sometimes on interiors and you can't see it. I personally don't really do many tank interiors. If it's like a tank destroyer and it's got an open turret, you have to, but I don't put a ton of energy and time into it, if really any at all. With half tracks, especially like one like this M3A2, we have a fully open top. So you'll be able to see all inside it, which will be really, really cool. And we can display, you know, a little bit of detail in there. So, figure-wise, I think I said this, but it comes with 8 figures. They're not amazing figures, but they're perfectly fine. If you are a much better figure painter than myself, you could probably make these look awesome. If you are a subpar figure painter like myself, at least I think I am, probably going to skip most of these. I'm thinking like maybe include a driver and the guy in the 50 cal, maybe a rifleman in the back, something like that. But we do get some spare M1s, we have our anti-tank mines, and then these are all the bags and tarps and everything that would go on the kit if we weren't using the value gear. But you can see they're pretty good. For a 70s kit, they're great. For modern kits, they leave a little bit something to be desired. So that's why we went the value gear, just a little bit more detail. We won't go crazy on the figures though, because again, I'm not even sure that I'm going to do any of them, and if I do, I'm only really going to do 1, 2, or 3. But we'll jump into the kit. Now, this is 3 sprues, at least 3 full-size sprues, so it's going to be a pretty quick build. For a 70s kit, it feels a little bit complex. Just thinking about other 70s kits like the Walker Bulldog or the Panzer II, the Lux there, those kits feel like they're like 10 pieces. This feels like a lot more, but also not, like you're not going to spend more than a weekend building it. The only complications and kind of intricacies are going to come from painting probably. Maybe we have to do 1 or 2 sub-assemblies, but the whole vehicle's olive drab, all the seats are khaki, and I don't think there was anything that said we had to paint the dashboard anything but olive drab. So we might even be able to do it all in one go. It does have rubber band tracks that are going to go around the back, and then rubber tires as well. There's a nice seam on those. We'll do our best to knock that down. In terms of these tracks, they are not detailed at all on the inside. The outside, I think that's probably all the detail you need, but I have heard that they're extremely tight when you go to attach them to the vehicle. And it can be a little bit, we'll call it a minor problem. So we'll see when we get to that phase how that works out, but that is definitely something on my radar to watch out for. I haven't seen aftermarket tracks for this kit, nor did I really care. I don't do aftermarket tracks, I guess, on most of my kits. Only ones where I hear they're really bad or annoying. So if we get into a situation where they snap or they break, maybe we'll go that route, but for now we're going to use what's in the box. So first sprue we're going to look at, we have kind of front fenders. You see there's nice steel, that steel plate texture. Good detail on the hood and the sides and the doors, and yes, the jerry can or fuel cans, whatever, are all kind of one piece molded there, but they do have a nice strap molded on them, which is a really good kind of bonus because we don't always get that. Sometimes you just get a jerry can, and I know people will scratch build straps, but I'm not super into scratch building, and I don't think most people are. So it's nice that we get that. The tools as well, at least the shovel has a nice clamp. The axe and the sledgehammer here leave a little bit to be desired, but for a 70s kit, again, they're very, very well detailed. So very excited about that. Some loose paper here. Next, we're going to get kind of the entire lower section. So we have kind of our entire suspension system here. Exhaust pipe, bogies, again, suspension, wheels, shocks, everything like that. So nothing too crazy on this sprue, but again, do have good detail. If I can get my camera to focus. Do have good detail. Again, especially for a 70s kit. And there's no flash. None that I've found yet. And I've done a pretty good inspection. This is just classic. Tamiya is awesome. I know I'm kind of a fanboy of Tamiya's, but I think it's for good reason, and I'm definitely not the only one. Final sprue, or at least final full sprue. We're going to have our side with the ladders. You'll see the star is cut out on this piece. I actually forget if we get a decal for that or not. I know the painting instructions say that we paint it on, so that'll be interesting. I've actually never, I feel like the light is impacting it. I've actually never seen that in a kit, so that'll be really, really interesting. But again, interior here, sides, we have our 30 cal machine guns, 50 cal is up top, some ammo. I love when the shells are showing because we can get some nice gold and bronze paint in there. And then there really aren't, there's no more tools or anything. We got all our seats, everything like that. And you know, our cushions here have some nice nice detail on them as well. All the seats in the Halftrack kind of have little folds in them, so that'll be really, really nice. It'll take kind of what can be a really basic thing. A lot of seats are just kind of flat and boring. And we get a little bit of detail in there. So we also have our windshield, the only clear parts in the kit. And then it looks like we do get some stars with our decals. So I'm guessing, yes, the painting instructions say to paint the star on the sides, but these 2C decals look like they're going to fit that perfectly. They look like pretty typical Tamiya decals, probably a little bit on the thick side, but that's never bothered me one bit. Just use a little bit of mark fit and I think you'll be fine. It doesn't really seem like they go on any tricky areas anyways. And worst case scenario, you just use an extra layer of mark fit and call it a day. Plus, I always use Tamiya's well, I shouldn't say always. I generally use Tamiya's TS80 to clear coat over decals. And it's a great product, but it kind of eats decals from time to time and warps them a little bit. So if you use it, you have to do really light layers and let them dry because it's going to dry really hot. So just be aware of that. Do light layers, and then you really shouldn't have an issue. But I tend to find that actually kind of knocks down the thickness of the decals. It might be something as simple as Tamiya knows that their product will do that, so they make their decals thicker. I don't know. It's just a wild theory, I guess. But that is our Tamiya M3A2 Halftrack. Again, super excited about building it. If you've made it this far, please like and subscribe to the channel. We'll be doing a lot more of this similar style content. Feel free to leave comments. I read all of them and I think respond to all of them, at least so far. If there's something that you would like to see on the channel, anything like that, definitely let me know. But the next step we will get to is building this kit. Once we build it, we will paint it, do decals and all kind of the accessories and things, and then finally we will do some weathering. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the build.